I expected there to be people. No people yet.
Well, you never know. Could still be some.
No. Oh.
Taking a little nap.
So WHMCS
Company with the bad name
has an infinite amount of configurations. Like, it's just blowing my mind. So I've been trying to work through all of them, and we still haven't gotten all the settings quite working correctly. We don't have it synced up with Pro Sites yet. I was a little worried that it wouldn't work with Pro Sites, and since then I figured out that it can. Okay, Lynn is here. I think Lynn said her site is ready to launch, so that might all she.
Oh, that'd be great.
That might be all that she's interested in figuring it out. Lynn, I just invited you in without warning. It has its own affiliate system. It can do a lot. It has, for the most part, it has its own email system. It doesn't have a direct connection to active campaigns. So I'm not sure what will happen there. I'm not sure how we'll get that information. Somebody's probably figured out a workaround, but yeah. Lynn, how's it going?
My mic.
I can kind of hear you. I heard you for a second, and then you went out again.
My microphone's muted.
Ah, okay. Well, it's not now. I could hear you. I heard you. I heard you that last time. So you said you're ready to publish your site, and you need to know what to do to make that happen.
I already went to the Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I've already got it in the domain. I went to GoDaddy the other night, and I put it in the domain, and I sent a little email. I have to send an email to you.
Yeah.
And then I also this morning sent something to your
support.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always good to send to support because more than one person checks that. It's not just me. Sometimes my email queue gets incredibly busy.
And then I mapped it.
Okay.
And
well, I'll check your work, and then I'll do the one little piece that we have to do on our side. And then we'll test and see if it. So sometimes we get instant results. Sometimes it takes a little while to propagate, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay. And then I just had a couple of questions to ask.
Okay. Dashboard. Go down here to your domain mapping. Okay, I'm not seeing it here yet. But you added the A record in GoDaddy?
Yeah, I added this up here.
This top part?
Yeah.
This top part, the 45.56.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and what's your actual domain address? What's your real one?
It's Keokuk, TUM, church.org.
Okay. that look right?
Yeah.
When did you do your change? Your A record change?
I did it yesterday evening.
Okay. Um, so it's not finding it, but that doesn't mean that you did it wrong. It could just mean that it hasn't propagated yet.
Because when I called them after I bought it,
Yeah.
and I called GoDaddy, and this girl helped me. She put these numbers up here in um, it was the DNS under A.
Yeah. And it might all be correct. It just so your domain servers all over the world has to get that. The domain server that we're operating in might not have that information yet because it has to propagate. Like they slowly are scanning each other and it's picking up that information. That's
Uh-huh.
why it says it takes up to 72 hours sometimes. But we
Uh-huh.
can check. Why don't you, we've never done this before, but why don't you log into GoDaddy on your computer and I'll show you how to share your screen with me.
Okay. Okay, let me go to a new tab. And
I think we should, Tim, I think we should call WHNCS. I think we should just call it Smurf.
There we go.
We should just call it the Smurf system.
okay, I am logged in.
Okay. So let me show you how to share your screen, and then if you can't find the place you need to go to, I can help you do it.
Okay.
There's on the left, there should be a little green button with a white arrow on top of it. That's the screen share dialog.
Okay, just push it.
Push it and choose the full screen. Just choose the first option.
Entire screen.
Yep.
And share.
Yep.
Okay.
Sweet. All right, now go back to GoDaddy.
Okay.
Okay. And you're logged in. Go to where your name up top is. Hit
Uh-huh.
that down arrow. And go to Manage My Domains. It's the first option on the left.
Okay, so we put the Keokuk tumcchurch.com to forward to the keokuktumcchurch.org.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so scroll down on your screen. That's interesting. Okay, so where it says keokuktumcchurch.com and it says manage connection under that, hit that. Okay, hit cancel. Hit the tab that says DNS zone file.
Do we need to change this one here too? I asked her if I
No,
changed that.
no, we don't. I'm just making sure that this is done in the right place. Okay, There's a really small link at the top that says all domains. Hit that one.
Um,
It's right above the name Keokuk, tumcchurch.com.
okay, I see.
Why? Okay. Hit the big green use my domain.
Over here on under
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
the one. Why are they giving us this dialog box? Scroll up a little bit. All right, we'll hit the connect to existing site. We'll see what happens. No, I don't want any of that. Scroll up. Okay, there's a down. Hit the down arrow next to DNS on the menu. So domains, buy and sell, and then DNS is the third one.
Okay, I see.
What the heck?
We when we went in to change things on this site, I went into the little. Can I go back on this, or can I go back to all
Yeah,
domains?
just go back to my domains.
We went to this little button up here to change
Oh,
things.
okay. Uh, yeah, that sounds. Yeah, go there.
And there's where I put in the.
Okay. A record. That's correct, but I'm worried that. I mean, that's all it should need. Scroll down. All right, I think it's correct. Scroll up.
It says forwarding domains that are not set up, but
Yeah, that's something different.
oh, okay.
Check my spelling one more time. I'm going to use a tool that will help me test how far your domain has propagated.
Okay.
It is propagated everywhere, and it's correct, I think. Let me double check. Except in Italy, for some reason, it is not yet propagated in Italy. Okay, so it should be working. So this isn't your problem. It's now an us problem.
That means that we should be able to um, put it in the search bar and it should come up.
Yeah, well, it's not completely set up on our side.
Oh, okay. So are we done with the GoDaddy, or do you want me to stay in here for a while?
Nope, that's all correct.
Okay. I will log out. And then did I just push stop sharing then, or?
Yeah, yeah, you can do that.
I can't. I have to tell you, I was a little nervous about putting it out there.
Oh yeah, that's a good sign though. That nervousness is good.
We can give you a shout out on the or in the Aboundant Facebook page.
We should. We should ring the Facebook bell every time
Right.
we get a.
And you'll have another link pointing back to your site, which is always good.
No, everything's correct. We're just gonna have to wait and give it time. I don't know why whatever DNS server. Oh, it just went. It just went.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so let me. I got to do one more thing.
So now, will I be able to? I mean, how when I go in, will it look the same for me when I go in to work on it as it did
Yep.
before?
Yeah, there won't be any. Success
Yay!
on my computer at least. If it doesn't work on your computer, if you enter your cache, it will work.
Okay.
But I will. I can show you. You can see here that I've entered the address and that it's up.
Yay! Oh, wow! Yay!
Congratulations, you are the proud owner of a live church website.
Cool.
Check one more. Let's see.
Everybody will just, they couldn't wait till I got it up after I showed it to them in the meetings and stuff. They were
Cool.
just excited.
It's a good feeling. It makes me feel good.
Yeah,
That is
me
really
too.
terrific. Yep.
Okay, and you're not discouraging search engines so they can find you, so it's all good.
Yeah. And I changed I called the church and told them I changed the church website from my website to theirs, and I told them they were going to have to accept it or I went under,
Oh, for the admin email,
yeah,
you changed it to their email address.
yeah. Wasn't I supposed to do that?
Yeah, well, I mean that would be good for long-term stuff unless you're always going to be the person.
Well, I'm always going to be the admin person for now anyway, as far as I know. For
It, I would say in that case it doesn't matter too much. And it just depends. It's a workflow issue.
uh-huh.
So there are some notifications that go to that email when certain things happen in WordPress. And
Uh-huh.
so if you want it to go to them, and then they can notify you if something happens, they can
Uh,
do that. Or if you want it to go to you, and then if there's something they need to do that you can notify them on. It's just with your contact forms, you already know how to set that receiving email to whoever you want it to be. But yeah.
Okay, well then I need to go back and change that under the general.
Yeah. And you can just see how it plays out.
Yeah.
I wonder what changed in that last second.
I don't
Maybe it
know.
just happened. All right. What other questions did you have?
Well, the one is about when I go in on the when I log in, is it going to change, my search or the way I see it to make changes on it?
No.
And the other thing is see how when I go down to the sermon, see how it changed here when I
How
put
it's
the
two different styles.
yeah, I put the second one in and I thought it would be the same as this, but I took it out and put it back in and it didn't. I don't know why it did it the other way.
Let me get into the back end and I'll. Oh, it's not going to automatically log me in. The easy days are over. Now I have to teach my computer how to log into it again.
Oh,
Hold on, that'll just take a second.
so I'll probably have to do the same thing.
Well, I was using my super admin login, and when you get your own domain, that doesn't work anymore.
Mm.
It doesn't automatically log me into everything that's on the domain, so I have to go. I have to go and find it through our list of sites, which I will do. Okay, sites. Cook. Dashboard. Okay. Okay, so I know the answer. So, that's interesting. I only see one sermon, yet two are showing.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, I think this is part of the same post. Hold on.
So do I need to um,
Yeah, it's there. It's in the post twice.
do I need
So,
do I need to delete one of them and then put the new one in or?
well, you can make a new post with the new one, but you'll want them all to look the same.
Yeah.
You can make a new post with whatever the new sermon is. And you
Oh,
don't have to call it sermons post. You can call it whatever its name. Um, Here, sermon for April 24th, 2016. Um, And then I'm looking here, and I just see 2 instances of it.
Well, this one is the 3/20/2016, and then the top one is for.
Oh, okay. Make a separate post for each one, and just have one entry in each post.
Okay.
And let's see what the differences in styles are with these 2. Playlist IDs.
Kind of like the trends. Well, with the trends though, I put the same. I put the trends in. I just put one on top of the other one though. I didn't make a separate page for each trend.
I would make a separate post for each trend and for each sermon.
Okay.
And what will happen is, you know how when you're on Facebook, you have a news feed and kind of the newest stuff is at the top and it pushes the older stuff down?
Mm-hmm.
Think of these each like their own news feed.
Okay.
So when you put a post in, it'll push the older posts down. And so we just having it showing either like 2 or 3 posts, so when it'll show the newest 3 things,
Uh-huh.
but only if they're each in their own posts.
Okay.
And just make sure that if it's a sermon, it has the category sermons, and if it's a newsletter, it has the category newsletter.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah.
And then the other thing I'll say is with this one, you just entered a file. Uh-oh, I clicked on it. Is it going to play? Is it going to play? And with this one, you entered an audio playlist. They have different looks to them. You might like one better. An audio playlist is if you have more than one audio file that you... Like if you had 2 audio files in here, there'd be a number, whatever the second entry is under this first one.
Oh,
You're
okay.
only going to be using one audio file for post, so just use this format up here. And the way that you do it is you just hit the add media, and then you upload the file, and then you just select the file.
Uh-huh.
And then you hit insert into post. That's the standard way of doing it. The other way that it was done was using this create audio playlist. You don't need to do that.
Okay.
And then here's where the category is set. And then give it a name that's descriptive. You may also want to consider the date's good. There may also be a title. You may want to put the title in here somewhere if the pastor has a title for their sermon.
Okay.
Not all pastors like to use titles for their sermons, so yeah. Does all that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I put it in under standard then. When I put it in.
Yeah, always use the standard. Yeah, you can experiment with these. It will change the way they look on the homepage.
Mm-hmm.
But in my experience, standard always displays things the best.
Okay.
In the things that I've worked with. Okay, what question did you have next?
Tell me about tags. I guess I really never.
Yeah. So, okay, well, first of all, let's show the tags on this screen. So tags. So tags are just easy ways to cross-reference a post. So say the sermon was on John chapter 3. You could tag it John 3. Or you could just tag it John if it's the book of John. Or say you have an event or a piece of news that's about United Methodist Women. You could tag it UMW. And basically, if anybody's ever searching the site, or if they're looking all the tags, they can see what kind of subjects you're dealing with, and they can look at just the items that relate to those subjects.
Okay.
Or you could not use, if you don't want to use tags, you don't have to. They don't always show up, they just kind of work behind the scenes.
Okay. So like with that sermon, he was relating to Revelations and John, and I could tag it as Revelations and John.
Yeah, and just separate each one with a comma.
Okay.
And it is case sensitive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your update here is the same as publishing on the other site.
That's correct. Yeah, it just, whatever changes you've made become live when you hit that update.
Okay. The other thing that I was, okay, like under my current events, under like media, under my current events,
Oh, okay, so not in your calendar.
no, and see, it comes up like this, but if you go under like recent posts, current events, I don't know why it doesn't come up with, no, down here where it says recent, if you bring it up there, it comes up and shows under recent posts there, click current events.
Yeah. This is the sidebar.
Yeah, and
This
you
is
have to
supposed
click
to be
it.
on the side.
But if it comes up like it is now until you click there, and then it'll come up like it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
See, and that's the way it's supposed to be, but for some reason that's not. And what I'd like to do is there any way you can divide those into two separate, like be able to click on one and see adults and then another and see youth under the current events type thing?
Let me go back here. Okay, so this is what's called the category view. See where it says category up there on top?
Uh-huh.
So if you have more than one current event post, it'll show all of your current event posts here.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then once you click on the actual post, then you'll just see the individual posts. So say you had, so okay, this is another place, Lynn, where you need to think of your posts like a news feed.
Okay.
So each current event will get its own post.
Okay.
And then once you have multiple current events, they'll all show up under this link. So I'm actually pleased that you managed to do the category. You installed the menu item correctly.
Uh-huh.
This stuff down here should be on the side. That bothers me a little, but I have a feeling that once you get more than one post, it will work correctly.
Okay.
Now, what you might want to do is you might, instead of using this current events category that you created, you might want to use the existing news category.
Okay.
Because what will happen is, and you can put the news category back on this menu the same way that you did, but what will happen is on your home page, it'll show up here in this feed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you have the category newsletter, so you're using all your own. Well, what you could do is you could have a third column that says that says current events,
Mm-hmm.
and just have it display every post that has the category news
Okay.
underneath it. Um, I need to see something. I need to see if these other pages are messing up. No, this one works properly. It's weird that your sidebar isn't displaying properly on the side.
Mm-hmm.
I think once you make these changes, if that's still happening, you should let me know,
Okay.
and we'll fix it.
Okay.
You can still keep the category current events if you want to.
Okay.
That's fine. Just make sure, this is one individual event, right?
Well, no, this one's coming up May 1st, and then the VBS will be like in June.
Yeah, make a separate post for each one of these.
Okay.
So potluck lunch would be the name of one post, and then VBS would be, the subject matter of the other post. But give them both the category current events,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll show up in this feed.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
News feeds are really useful, but they're a different way of thinking.
Yeah, it was a little bit hard to kind of work with. I wasn't.
Yeah. Well, my college students, I had to teach them a few weeks ago about the same concept, and when Facebook first came out, people didn't really understand what feeds were either. They didn't understand your content. It makes your content dynamic instead of static, which is good for information that's timely
Uh-huh.
because it puts the newest stuff on top, and it slowly pushes the old stuff down, but it doesn't get rid of it. And so people want to go back and refer to it later, they can still find it on your site somewhere,
Mm-hmm. Um,
even though it's out of the picture.
yeah. I finally figured out how to take pictures. These are the pictures that I have up here are pictures of our old right after Trinity was built, like the welcome
Oh, okay.
and the evangelism. And this, the one under outreach, is like the old stained glass window from the old church that was torn down.
Cool.
And I took them and I just resized them with the size of the ones that you have off of your, the 1080 by 608, I think it is.
Yeah, that's great.
And I got that. And this is VBS, the one under Education and Youth. So I kind of got that down now. And so now I'm
No,
just
it's
kind of
looking
trying
great.
to, huh?
I said it's looking great.
Um, and I figure that these on the front is going to be a lot easier for the older people in our congregation, which is mainly older people, to just click on those and get the information a lot of times, as opposed to trying to go up underneath, a lot of these different categories. I don't know, but and tell me again how you got the telephone number and the church address up at the top.
It's in the customizer. So a parents customize. On your admin bar, it's up here. On your black bar, it's one of the options in the menu, or you can just, from your dashboard, you can go to appearance customize. And then, let's see,
Oh, I see. Okay.
general settings. No, 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 not general settings. Header and navigation, not here. Uh, Header elements.
Okay.
Um, Once you start using feed for your trends newsletter,
Mhm.
I would consider moving it under media as a category like you've done the other ones.
Uh-huh.
And I would just call it trends. I would call it trends newsletter so the people know it's a newsletter.
Okay.
And so they'll find it there, and then they'll find the feed for it here. And then you can have 3 feeds. That would be great because then it'll match the 3-column look you have above it.
Okay.
Um, I would maybe give a title for each column, which you can just use with a text. You can call this column Trends Newsletter, you can call this column Current Events, and you can call this column Sermons.
Okay.
And then your actual titles will show here instead of Sermons Post. It'll just say Sermon for blank, blank, blank,
Okay.
and Trends New, Trends for April 2016 under the heading Trends Newsletter. Um,
Now all I do is put a link in to put it down here for the third column, right?
Hold on, on your homepage
Yeah,
to
oh, I
move
just,
it. Yeah, just put a category link and just like you've done these other ones.
okay, yeah.
Although pictures is static, but sermons and church media are categories. Do it just like those.
Uh-huh.
Um, if you don't like the way that it looks, I can show you how to do it in a way that gives you more control, but try it just with the category view first and see what happens.
Okay. So then take it off down there and just put it under the media then.
Yep.
Okay.
And reconstruct this a little bit. If you run into problems with that, let me know.
Okay.
I mean, you could just have static pages for each of those, but one of the disadvantages is what do you do after you have like 100 things on the page? Like, most people would get rid of the old ones,
Uh-huh.
but then what if somebody wanted to refer back to one of the old ones at some point? Like with the sermons, maybe?
Uh-huh.
They'll remember a sermon from a couple years ago and they want to find it. So, yeah, having posts where there's just one thing per post, that's a much better way to do it in the long run.
Well, I was going to ask you what you did with after you got so many posts, what you did with them. So this,
Nothing. They just move down. What happens to your old posts in Facebook? It's the
yeah,
same thing. They
they
just
just kind
go
of,
farther and farther into history.
yeah,
Um, but if you want to refer to them, or if you want to, remember what you did last year, or if there's some piece of vital information somebody needs, they're still around. They can still search for them,
hmm,
or they can just scroll back until they find them. They can keep on going through older entries.
okay,
Uh, it's useful, and it also improves your search engine optimization, which is important. So if you were to get rid of that category, that content, then there's less for Google to search to find things to connect people to on your site. So it's good to have them around, but they're like old Facebook posts. You can still search for them if you need to find them, but they're in the history.
okay. I already went to Google and put our website in Google, you
Great.
know, but with Bing, do you have to pay for Bing or does it?
No, you should be able to do that for free with Bing as well.
Okay. Okay. Is there any other places you think I ought to go out and
Yeah.
put?
You want to do Yelp because iOS's map uses Yelp points of interest. So somebody's searching for a church on their in their iPhone map,
Uh-huh.
it'll find it. It'll find your church
Okay.
easier.
So,
They have some data already, so it might find your church anyway, but you'll have more control and it'll give it precedence over other churches if you take the time to fill it out.
okay, so just go to Yelp.com
Those
and
are the top three, being Yelp and Google Places. And I'm so glad that you're doing that. That's actually really important. After your website, that's the next most important thing you can do.
yeah. Well, I was reading that thing about, getting your website out to different places
Yep.
um, while I was waiting to get on here. And so I went ahead and filled out the Google, and I was going to go to Bing, but I had to fill out a register, a login thing for it, so I didn't have really time to do that. And so now I'll go to
Yeah.
Bing and Yelp and to do that. So,
I'll
is
come
there
back so that you can see me.
anything else you can let me know that I
I think
change or
once you get
either
all
did?
the feeds sorted out, your site will be good. Um, I think eventually you'll be able to put your own United Methodist woman picture in here.
Mm-hmm.
It's always good to show young women. The United Methodist women at a couple of the churches that I've worked for are notoriously bad at recruiting
Okay.
younger women. And so it's always good if you can do that. You can show a younger woman. I like your picture for worship quite a bit. Evangelism, over time, you might be able to find something better there too. Um,
Okay.
the baptismal font, if you have an interesting one of those, that's a good one that you can put there. Or if there's some kind of outreach program that you're doing, that's a good one to put there.
Or
Uh, I like the pinwheels for Summer Festival. I get what you're doing with education and youth, but it might not be as obvious to outsiders.
yeah, I gotten any pictures yet from our youth person, so
Yeah.
I was just kind of waiting for some pictures from her to put in there, and that was
Well, it's
just
great what you did. You put something in there, and that will convict them to, if they want something better, that will convict them to give you what they want.
yeah,
Especially now that it's live. I mean, that'll put pressure on them to join in with your ministry efforts.
yeah,
You've gotten good enough at resite. Now that it's spring, you want to retake pictures of the outside of the church, and you kind of know what you're looking for. You can center the focus more on what you want. This picture is really good. I like this one. You can keep that in there. But these two outside pictures, I bet you can find better pictures now that things are in bloom. And
yeah.
trees.
We were gonna take like you suggested, take the picture of the people outside the church.
People
On
is good, yeah. Even if you can't make out their faces, just seeing people going into church or coming out of the church building, you might have more luck getting a group of people if they're coming out. But that's a good one. It just shows activity around your church.
yeah. We kind of thought we'd get a group of people, and my husband Bob would get up on a ladder and just kind of get them all smiling at us, and happy people at
Oh, a
church.
group picture. That would be good too.
Yeah. And then I changed. I had the one picture that was on there of the inside, but then I got to looking at our screen,
It's washed
and
out.
no, it was a picture that I'd gotten off the web for something else.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was just a picture off the web, and I didn't really want it up there because I didn't want somebody to see that I'd taken it off the web, and
Okay.
so I thought, well, I'll just put a picture of our church there and say welcome, and because I change it ever so often and put a welcome thing up there on the slide,
Yeah. That would be great.
So that's what I did last week, and we took a picture of it. But I'm always looking for something new to put up in there, and
Yeah.
I don't know. But one of the suggestions that somebody had was to put our times for the church, our church services, on one of those big, one of the main slides there on the front. So that's the reason why I put it on that second slide.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you could also dedicate one of these banners to that if you wanted to. Or you could put a text section in between these two sections and put it there. Similar to how, oh, I'm not sharing my screen with you anymore, so I'm saying things and you're not, So how we typically do it is we have a text section between these two sections that has the times on it.
Uh-huh.
Um, kind of like this.
Oh, okay.
And that's just a text view. That's just a text section, or that's its own section with its own background color, and it just has a text module inside it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good place to put those.
Oh.
If you want to take them off that slide, and it'll always be visible
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, because it's not real visible on that slide.
Yep.
And I didn't know where to put them.
Yeah, we call this the invitation section. And you can see there's 3 different ways that we did it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll just you should get this here. If you want to refer to those for ideas.
Okay.
And then you can kind of see this is how the news feeds, this is how we set them up. And so you can kind of get an idea. This is the same thing you're doing, except they're each in their own post.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's okay if people don't always see this stuff above the fold, is what we say. People expect to scroll down on the websites that they go to. And if they're mobile, they scroll down really easily because they just flip their finger.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes through the site.
So where on your header, so you just put it above between the
full width header and the sub banners.
Okay.
Yep. And I'll let you do that. I don't think you'll have any problems with it. I'm more worried about you being able to rein in the posts, the news feeds.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's all the questions I had.
I was expecting a couple more people to join today. They did not show up. But, yeah, so maybe next week if you come back, you'll have some company.
Yeah.
To learn something.
Well, I'm probably always going to have questions, so
Yeah.
I'll probably be back.
Cool. It's great.
Well, thank you for all of your help. I really appreciate it. I don't think I could have gotten nearly this far.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad we're here to help you, and I'm glad that you were able to do the work.
So,
when I make sure websites for churches, I can't always get them to be invested in them. And I think it's an important ministry, or I wouldn't be doing this sort of thing. So it's good when people can take charge of it and feel empowered to do that work. And to have somebody to support them like me to fall back on. So that's good.
Yeah. So I really appreciate it, and now I'm going to call the pastor and say, hey, you can go on the website, on the web, and
yeah, for real.
Yeah.
I've been trying to find a website for you which will help with. There's so many different site submission kinds of places where you can kind of aggregate your site submission.
Yeah.
After you do, I mean, Google and the major ones are nice to do individually, but
There
then
are other little ones.
isubmit.com.
isubmit.com.
Uh,
Okay.
Is that a good one, Tim? Somebody recommended, or did you just find it? Oh, Tim is still there.
I'm back.
It looks a little shady. That's why I was asking if you.
Yeah, there's quite a number of them out there. I
Yeah.
can't remember the one that I have typically used.
We'll
A while since I've
we'll
needed to
put
do
it
that.
out. We'll let you know when we find the one that we're.
Yeah.
If you did want yp.com is a good one to do too, actually.
yp.com.
Yeah, that's Yellow Pages. They're probably the next on the list after the ones that I named for you.
Okay.
Although Yahoo Places probably also would be on there somewhere.
iSubmit is rated okay by Norton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you later.
Okay.
Every week.
You too. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.